Welcome everyone to Carving a New Path. My name is Andrea Hyland, and I am the host of this show. Just to tell you that the reason this show started back in 2020 was really in response to all the change that people were experiencing. And I wanted to invite guests and conversations on the podcast to just show what it's like to be in transition and listening to your inner voice, birthing new ways of being in the world. And it's evolving into more and more conversations about how to use different tools and resources to really support you with the energies that are happening in the world and how to navigate change and invite in more abundance, et cetera, et cetera. So, in that vein, today's show, episode 31, is called Love Is, the February 2024 Sacred Geometry with Sabine Kruse. And for those of you who have listened to the show before, and for those of you who haven't, Sabine has been on the podcast a couple of times. And so if you scroll down the list of shows on this podcast, you'll find several shows. And the last one was announcing her book release, Activate Your Highest Potential with Sacred Geometry, a practical guide to freedom, authenticity, fulfillment. Ah, yes. So she's holding it up for anyone who's watching the video portion. I just love that. That's an activation in itself to see that book cover. And really, the book has a wealth of information for learning the basics of foundational sacred geometry shapes and forms. There's an overview of the stars. And I want you to know I have the paperback and the Kindle versions so that I have at home, I have a copy by the bed. And when I travel, I have the Kindle version that I can take with me. And I also know there's a hardcover copy now, since I've been on the road that came out. So I highly recommend the book if you cannot figure out. Matter of fact, it was my go-to gift for giving people gifts in 2023 also, once it was released on August 8th. So before I get into the conversation with Sabine today, I just want to read a short bio so you get an idea of her background. She is an activator of human consciousness. For 20 years, Sabine worked as an economist devoted to improving the living conditions of people in developing countries, eventually realizing that knowing thyself is the most effective way to create a real impact. With her deep understanding of sacred geometry and through her writing, coaching workshops, and sacred geometry designs, Sabine inspires and empowers people around the world to break free from limitations, connect to their true nature, and live their best lives. And this bio is also in the show page if you want to read that again. So, I'm so excited because Sabine is now offering a monthly webinar that includes an overview of the energy of the month. And I wanted to have a conversation with her about the energies of 2024 and what is upcoming, because I was at that first webinar and it was fantastic, a great support for the whole month. And now I am ready for February's webinar that I know is on Sunday, February 4th. I think that's the Sunday, February 4th. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Sabine, to talk about the energies of 2024, to talk about the sacred geometry symbols for the webinars. And so take it away.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Thank you for inviting me again. And it's always so fun to talk to you, and there's always so many topics that come up. And also, hello and welcome to everyone who's listening in or watching the video. Very happy to be here with you all. And yeah, it's actually been quite an interesting time ever since this new year started. So I felt guided to tune into the energies and frequencies of each month and to see what is coming up and what we might want to have support with, but also the potentials and opportunities that the frequencies of the months bring to actually reap the benefits, or to make use of the potentials that the month offers. And so I feel that 2024 holds a lot in store for us. I mean, on the one hand, of course, there is still the old that's still coming up. It's coming into the light now. By the old, I mean old energies, frequencies, paradigms. But the new is already coming through. And in January, I felt we were still in this transition phase where the old was still lingering on. It had not completely left yet. And the new was not fully there, but could also already be felt. And that's why I designed a sacred geometry called Embracing the Unknown, that would actually help us with its frequencies. Because when I design a sacred geometry, I use different sacred geometry shapes and forms, because each shape and form has got its own certain energy and frequency. And also colors, because the colors are light codes. And I put them together in a way you would concoct a meal, like with different ingredients and flavors, and you get basically a nicely cooked meal as a result. And so the Embracing the Unknown symbol was actually meant to support us, or is still meant to support us in with going through these challenges that we might still feel when the old is coming up and needs to be accepted and looked at, and then can be let go. And also with the new, inviting the new to come in. And I feel like for February now, there is this potential that the new is coming through. Then that's why I called it Love Is, because the new paradigms and frequencies is all about our true nature, about love. And I feel there is love in the air, and it's not only the love that we usually celebrate for, say, St. Valentine's or loving another. And it also goes beyond the self-love, which is an important step to accept and love yourself first, so you could actually really love another. But it goes even beyond that. What we're going to feel in February, or at least it's a potential to already tap into it and experience it in February, is this love that is the universal love, the love of creation that's never changing, that is always there, because it's actually the nature of creation, and it's the nature of us, and that's the love that simply is. And this is what we want to activate this coming Sunday with a sacred geometry symbol. Here in the background, you can't see it fully, but this is how it's going to look like. And as you might see, it's got this huge dodecahedron, which carries the energies and frequencies of universal love and grace. And it carries other ingredients that I will also talk about on Sunday that will support us. And we'll do a meditation as well to activate the love that we are at the core of our being. Maybe I should stop.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I want to hear you keep talking. And there's also this thing that's just kind of popping through me. I mean, in your newsletter, you wrote about feeling the acceleration right now. And I had said to you, yes, I even had things happening where there were just so many deadlines that are all really great things that are happening in my life right now. But there were so many deadlines that I was awake in the middle of the night, Saturday and Sunday, feeling like I couldn't even sleep. I need to like keep working or finishing or writing or, whatever that is. But in that acceleration, I can really feel the power of love is. And I was led yesterday to watch a Netflix documentary about the creating of the song We Are the World. And so for anyone who doesn't know, I mean, we are the world, we are the future, we are the children, we are the ones who make a better day, so let's start giving. And I feel like I'm messing up the words, and it's like so activated in me that to hear that song again and to watch that all I can feel is what you're talking about. Love is, even to the point where I brought it into a networking meeting this morning to just talk about this importance of love and art and healing and as part of transformative social justice. So I can feel in what you're sharing, like I need the anchor of love right now in this acceleration. And I just want to invite the listeners to think about that, you might think, oh, of course, we're going into February and there's Valentine's Day or whatever Hallmark holiday for, wherever you are. And I feel just in the past few days, your message about love is the thing that's going to support this wave of energy that's coming in right now. So I don't know if you have any other words about that based on my kind of download here of, like, help me stay on the planet and in my body and in my heart during this acceleration.
Yes, thank you for mentioning it, because this is really an important point. In January, we felt like we were almost still in a kind of a void, a vacuum. There wasn't much happening, a bit stagnating energies, even to a certain extent, and we didn't know which way to go. And now I can already feel the acceleration coming in and the potentials and the portals opening up for February. And also, I mean, there will be also we will also see in the world, of course, still chaos and new things that are going to come out into the light in the domain of politics or economics or social affairs. But internally, because first of all, I find it's important really to do that, to take the step internally. There is that potential to already be and experience that love that we are at the core of our being. Mm-hmm. And what I find very interesting when I design the sacred geometry and I go into meditation and I see what kind of frequencies and shapes and forms and colors need to form part of it. First of all, this sacred geometry symbol is different from others in a way that it's not, I didn't use the tracing function where there is a kind of movement in the sacred geometry symbol, but it's still. And I find that is important, because if the energies accelerate and love, that we just basically settle in and relax into the love is whatever's happening on the outside, or even like for us internally. And there might be a lot happening. We just relax into, like, similar to the practice where we just go into the 0 point in the middle of our heart chakras, where we have access to the soul and to the quantum field. It's relaxing into the love is frequency and energy, and come back to the truth, to the presence of who we are.
Wow. I can really feel that. It's interesting also seeing you lay back into it, because it's like a net in a sense that you're in, actually, now that I say net, I'm thinking hammock, like to be able to lie back in the hammock. I know, because I feel like hearing that song playing over and over yesterday, We Are the World. And then I even went for a walk on the beach and I just wanted to sing it and be in it and all. There was this feeling of I need to do something. I need to, like, what do I do with all this energy that's coming in here? So I love that example of what you're saying, like lean back into the love. Let the
Mm.
love hold you. And again, I look forward to the webinar because I know more will come through in that. I can feel that. I can feel the need for that with
Mm.
how this energy is moving through me, and that it is activating to see that um farmers protesting in different parts of the world, to see the I read something that there are like 64 national elections happening around the world this year. Like, depending on who is elected in each of those 64 countries, that's going to define where we're headed to for the next, and that's like shaking it up. So the more that we can stay in the love is energy and hold that. Yeah, I'm just phew, like the last 48 hours, I just feel like I'm understanding even more the power of what you're speaking about here, and why something like sacred geometry that might seem like, oh, pretty pictures, it's actually the shapes are here to hold us. Yeah, I wonder if you could speak to anything about, yeah, there's something about the shapes of the sacred geometry being more than a design.
Exactly. So
Mhm,
first of all, I mean, sacred geometry is really the universal language of the soul.
mhm,
So, and it's basically the blueprint of creation. So in order to bring light into form, the universe or creation used different shapes and forms, and they all carry their own unique frequencies and energies. And the good thing is, when you engage with sacred geometry, coming from your heart with pure intent, the sacred geometry goes directly into your subconscious and then transforms any kind of things that are not naturally you. That could be old programs, that could be conditionings from your parents, society, religion. And it actually brings you back to your true nature, to your divine essence. And so, of course, I mean, it's more effective if you engage with it energetically, you step into it and you feel the moving energies with by intention. But even like looking at it, being in its presence also helps. I mean, there are varying, what I'm trying to say, I mean, there are varying degrees of how much it will impact you. But and there are many ways to actually play with sacred geometry. And I use it, for example, also as a screensaver on my mobile phone. And I print it out. I've got it here, framed in walls, on the wall, as an art design as well. And I use it to meditate with it and to invite the frequencies and energies into my energy system for my highest and best good, and let the frequencies spin and move and rotate within and around and through me to bring through their frequencies and their support. Or you can step into it energetically. And of course, I mean, you can also work with it physically if you have physical sacred geometry shapes and forms, or you can build your own. Like, one of the simple ones is the infinity symbol, which I love
mhm.
creating physically as well, and play with it to bring about certain energetic shifts in my experience.
I love that. I want to say one thing about the webinar materials that you sent to all of us last month who attended the webinar, and then I'd love to shift to talk a little bit more about the infinity symbol. Um, One of the things I really appreciated, and you and I haven't talked about this, but I really appreciate that you sent us the symbol after the webinar and the recording. And I was able to access it in different ways. You sent us a recording, and then there was a way to watch it online also. And I watched it many mornings to start the day and just like really embracing the unknown and being in that energy. And on Saturday night, when I was kind of like in this wild place of like middle of the night writing and trying to meet some deadlines, I realized I really need to go back to bed. I'd only gotten like 3 hours of sleep, and I turned it on. And so right in bed, I had my computer there. I mean, they say don't take don't take your devices to bed with you. I was like, I'm taking my device to bed. So I have the laptop there, and I was watching the symbol. And then as you were taking us through the activation, I just closed my eyes and it helped me could go to sleep. And at some point I just like reached over and closed the computer, but then I slept for like a solid 5 hours after that. And so I mean, it's just another way of using the webinar tools, and it's another way of like how to manage the energies that are here. So I wanted to share that with you, and with the listeners, that that's how I'm using the webinar and the sacred geometry and the activation that you had.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So infinity symbol. Let's talk about that a little bit. Tell us about that, because that's actually, you have a newsletter that people can sign up for free on your website, and all of those links are in the show description here. And right now you are sharing a little bit of information about the webinar, and you're sharing a symbol of the month to really that I found really helpful. So yeah, tell us about that.
Yes, I picked the infinity symbol for this monthly newsletter because it's also tied into the topic of the webinar of the month. Because the infinity symbol is powerful. It reminds us of our infinite nature as well. I mean, probably most people know an infinity symbol. It's the vertical version is like the number 8. And you have also the horizontal version, which we used in maths class. And it's like these two loops that come together in an intersection point. And I love it because it's so simple and so profound at the same time. And you can use it to full circle. It carries the energies of full circling the old and also stepping into the new. If you use one loop for the past, for the old, what you want to leave behind, and the loop in front of you, the new beginnings, the hearts, the creations from your heart, and the new energies. And you can actually find like a free video tutorial on my YouTube channel, and also accessible through my website, in the section of the video tutorials, where you can join me in full circling the old and stepping into the new with any kind of topic and any kind of area, like, for example, relationships, finances, job, or any kind of topic you might have where you feel it's time to leave the old behind and step into the new. And that's a great practice to do at the moment, where we are moving from this transition phase slowly into, or not so slowly in your case, into the acceleration of energies and into the new. You can also find the text in my book. I have a whole chapter, 7.16, dedicated to the infinity symbol and practices with it. It's also on my website under the section Sacred Geometry and Tools. You will find also the practice if you wanted to do it, not through the video, but by reading it. So and I love it. I mean, it's really, I do it every now and then when I start a new project or when I enter a new phase in my life, to just leave the old behind and feel that you're breaking free from it and moving into the new. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I really encourage everyone who's listening to this or watching on YouTube that there's so much information that Sabine has shared about sacred geometry. So if you feel like you just, well, first of all, if you are already a lover of it, dive in. You know, there's free tools and there's the webinar and there's different ways of working with Sabine. I mean, I highly recommend her book, as I have said. All those links are in the show description. And if it's something where your interest is piqued a little bit, she has this fantastic Instagram page and with good questions and the symbols, all these designs that she has created on the software that she uses. I forget what's the software called?
Yeah, Omni Geometry.
Omni Geometry. Okay, just to give credit for what that, I mean, where that comes from. And she's designing these herself. And yeah, practice playing with some of the shapes. I actually, as you were talking about the infinity symbol, I was thinking about next time I go to the beach, just drawing it on the sand. And like, okay, so if I'm standing there and then do I step into the center to feel myself going? And well, I'll have to go back and watch your video again. You probably cover it there too.
You start from the intersection point and you place all the old topics and energies behind you and the new ones in front of you. And
Okay, got it.
that's how you can then later dissolve the old and really step into the new, the lumens.
Yes. I think
And then,
that's part of what's needed during this acceleration, actually, is like, oh my gosh, the old is still spinning and the new is spinning. I go work with the infinity symbol to let the old just fall away and make room for the new. Yeah.
and if you don't have a beach nearby, you can create an infinity symbol with pebbles, crystals. You can draw it. I mean, that's one of the easier symbols to create yourself, and I love doing it as well. I even created one with blueberries. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, I
yeah.
was just thinking I have a small poster board over on my desk there. So I'm thinking, oh, I could actually create that and put it right in the living room to just step onto it.
Hmm. Yeah, and the easiest way, I mean, really to see what you want to play with is by going to my website, and it's www.Sabine Kruse, my first name, my last name, SabineKruse.com. And you will also find a number of sacred geometry designs for sale as well. So you can download them and you can print them out for yourself. You can meditate with them, frame them, put them on the wall, whatever. So, and there are other possibilities as well. If you wanted your own personal sacred geometry design, I would tune into your intention and design it for you. It's also coaching sessions. And I also offer like a free 30-minute discovery session. If you're unsure whether a coaching with me would be the right thing or a personal sacred geometry design would be the right thing for you, you can talk to me and yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah, it sounds great. Well, it feels like we have poured some really potent information into this podcast today. So I want to thank you for coming, and I look forward to being there on Sunday. And if anyone's listening after February 4th, just know that it's the recording is then available. If you can't be there live, my intention is to be there live, and I know that you send the recording and the sacred geometry out afterwards. So anyone, they can sign up for it all month, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I plan to do like the sacred geometry webinars the first Sunday of the month in general. So when you can see as well for the upcoming month when the next one is available. Usually it should be the first week of the month where I
Mhm.
intend to offer them. so we can step into the energy of the month right at the beginning.
Yeah, sounds good. I was just looking at the future date, March 3rd, if that is the date that works for you too. So February 4th, and the recordings are there. Come to it live. Anything else that you want to share?
I mean, I'm really excited about this topic and this webinar, because I think love is such an important frequency and energy. I mean, embracing the unknown was as well, but I feel this one carries so much potential with it, because it really takes us away from the focus on just loving another and wanting the love of another. And it even goes beyond that self-love. Self-love is important, don't get me wrong, but it feels a little bit still this kind of separation. There is me loving self. So it's the self-love, I'm loving myself. But this love is simply where there is no duality anymore. There's no separation. There's no wanting anything or getting anywhere. It's really, I mean, it's that presence of our essence. It's the presence of what we are at the core of our being. And so I'm so excited about Sunday as well. So thank you
Yeah.
so much.
So let's end with that. Everyone just lean back into that love and just feel that energy of love. Yeah.
Now I know what I wanted to say, and
Yeah.
it's the love that is really the fabric of the universe.
Mhm.
It's not. It doesn't have an opposite. I'm talking about universal love here. What the universe is made of and what we are made of.
Mm. So feel that, everyone. Like let go of anything that you thought you knew what love is,
Yeah,
and just lean into this being the fabric
exactly.
of everything that's created here. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the invitation.
Mhm. Well, I almost don't want to say anything, but I do need to sign off. So, Sabine, thanks for being here. And again, everyone, all of these links are in the show description. So just go down there and go explore. Yeah. So thanks, Sabine.
Thank you so much, Andrea, for inviting me to the podcast. And thank you to everyone listening, watching, tuning in, being here with us. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm signing off, and I will see you all on another podcast. Thanks for being here. All right. Bye-bye now.